Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to step aside. I...
I have every right to be here.
Officer, I have a reservation here. Am I being detained?
The rain hadn't stopped since dusk. Water streaked down the windshield in slow, uneven rivulets as the sedan pulled into the gravel lot. Maya Carter's driver hesitated. The glow from the vacancy sign flickered like it was unsure of its own welcome. "I'll go in myself," she said. The automatic doors resisted before sliding open with a mechanical sigh. Inside, linoleum floors, a humming soda machine, faint mildew masked by artificial lemon. Behind the counter, a young clerk looked up, startled by her presence. "Evening," she said. "One room, please." The clerk swallowed, eyes scanning her face, her tailored coat, her hair still damp from the storm. Sorry, Mom. We're full tonight." Her gaze flicked to the glowing sign outside. "It says vacancy," he faltered. "Right, but we're expecting a group and company policy. Can't overbook." Before she could respond, the front door groaned again. A man in uniform entered, his boots thudding hard on the tile. "Everything all right here, Tommy?" The clerk straightened like a soldier caught off guard. "Yes, sir. Just explaining." The officer cut him off with a glance, then turned toward Maya. His face was flushed from the cold, mustache slick with rain. "Evening, you lost?" "No." Maya kept her voice neutral. "Just need a room for the night." He studied her long enough for discomfort to grow heavy between them. "You from around here?" "I'm passing through." "That's so," he smirked. "We get all kinds passing through. Some don't belong." Maya's posture stiffened. "Excuse me?" He leaned on the counter. "We had trouble before. Folks using fake cards, causing scenes. You understand?" Her hand trembled slightly, though her voice didn't. "My card's valid. You can check it." He looked to the clerk. "Don't bother." Maya inhaled sharply. "Are you refusing me service?" He smiled, almost amused. "Just keeping things safe. You can find another place down the highway." "There isn't another place." "Then maybe you should have planned better." The words landed cold. Behind him, the couple in the lounge turned their heads away, pretending to focus on their phones. Maya reached for her phone. The camera blinked red. "What are you doing?" Haskins asked. "Documenting this. You can't record in here." "I just did." His tone dropped an octave. "Turn it off." She didn't. He stepped closer, hand grazing the holster. The clerk froze. "Ma'am, don't make this complicated." She met his stare, the room narrowing to the space between their eyes. "You already did." Outside, thunder cracked. The lights flickered. Maya turned, walked to the door, and stepped into the rain. The recording light still blinked red in her trembling hand. She didn't look back. The conference room's glass walls gleamed under harsh white light, reflecting the skyline like a taunt. Clean, controlled, indifferent. Maya Carter stood at the head of the long oak table, jacket off, fatigue hidden under precision. Her phone sat beside a silver pen, its black screen still holding the faint afterimage of that red recording light. Across from her sat Dana Ruiz, head of PR, restless, tapping a stylus against her tablet. "The clip's been uploaded. Anonymous source, but it's already circulating. Nothing viral yet, but it's gaining traction." Maya's voice was even. "How much traction?" 40,000 views in 2 hours. Comments are mixed. Dana hesitated, half outraged, half skeptical. "You know how they get. Maybe she provoked it. We need context." "That kind of poison." From the corner, Ben, her assistant, added quietly. Someone already recognized the logo behind the counter. "People are connecting it to our chain." A silence spread. The soundproofed walls turned it into a vacuum. Maya leaned back in her chair. "They should. It is our chain." Ben's eyes darted nervously. "Do we acknowledge that?" "Not yet." Dana frowned. "Maya, if the public realizes the woman in that video owns the hotel, the optics change overnight. It'll explode. The company becomes a symbol, whether you want it or not." Maya clasped her hands together. "It already is." Asterisk, Dana exhaled. "You're sure you don't want to release a statement? We can spin this, emphasize accountability, brand values, diversity initiatives. No spin." Maya's tone cut the air. "Truth or nothing." Dana exchanged a look with Ben. "Then say something before someone else defines the narrative." Maya looked out the window. The city lights stretched endlessly below every glowing square, a room like the one she'd been denied. "Not yet," she repeated softly. Ben hesitated. "What's the plan, then?" Her gaze remained fixed on the skyline. "We wait. Let them show themselves. Later, Alone in her office, Maya replayed the video in silence. The flicker of the fluorescent lobby, the smirk on the officer's face, the sound of thunder swallowing her last word. Each frame felt like a wound reopening. She stopped the video on the moment his hand brushed the holster. Her reflection hovered over his image, her eyes, his posture, the power he believed he owned. The intercom buzzed softly. "Miss Carter," Ben's voice came through, hesitant. "The board's asking for a closed meeting tomorrow morning. They want to discuss containment strategy." "Of course they do," she murmured. "Tell them I'll attend." "Do you want legal present?" She paused. "No. I want them uncomfortable." That night, she couldn't sleep. Her apartment was all glass and silence, every window reflecting fragments of her own stillness. She stood barefoot, watching the rain thread down the glass. Her phone buzzed. Dana again. A link. A news caption under a grainy still from the video. "Unidentified woman confronts officer in small-town hotel dispute." Beneath it, a comment from a stranger. "You can tell she thinks she's better than them. Look at that attitude." Maya's throat tightened. She set the phone down. Another memory surfaced. Her father at the kitchen table decades ago. Newspaper spread wide. A headline about a protest gone wrong. His jaw locked tight. "They'll tell you to be polite," he'd said. "They'll call it professionalism, but they mean obedience." She hadn't understood it then. Now, she did. The next morning, the boardroom air was colder. 12 faces, men in navy suits. 2 women with tight smiles sat waiting. "Miss Carter," the chairman began, voice smooth as lacquer, "we've reviewed the footage. While we're of course sympathetic, the issue has drawn unwanted attention. We suggest a controlled response." Maya folded her arms. "Define controlled." He cleared his throat. "A private resolution, quiet termination of the staff involved, a statement emphasizing misunderstanding rather than malice. This doesn't need to become a racial incident." "It is a racial incident." The room stilled. He shifted uncomfortably. "We mean publicly, Miss Carter. The brand could suffer." "The brand," Maya's tone sharpened. "A uniformed officer humiliates a black woman in our hotel, and you're worried about the brand." A younger executive, fidgeting with his tie, said softly, "With respect, Maya, you're too close to this emotionally." Her eyes flicked to him. "I was in it. That's close enough." No one spoke. She gathered her folder, rose from the chair. "We'll speak again when you're ready to discuss accountability, not containment." As she reached the door, Dana met her gaze across the room, something like fear or admiration flickering behind it. Outside, the corridor hummed with air conditioning and distance. Maya walked toward her office, each step steady, deliberate. In her mind, her father's voice again. "Dignity isn't silence, Maya. It's surviving their noise." She pressed the elevator button. The doors opened with a soft chime. For the first time since that night, she smiled, but it wasn't peace. It was recognition. The diner smelled of grease and burnt coffee. Morning sun cut through the blinds, striping the counter in harsh bands of light. Officer Don Haskins sat in his usual booth, back to the wall, badge catching the light just enough to remind everyone who he was. "Morning, Don," said Pete, the cook, sliding him a plate. "Heard you had a little excitement the other night." Haskins smirked, cutting into his eggs. "Just another drifter thinking the rules don't apply to her." A younger deputy laughed from the next booth. "Yeah, we saw the video. You're famous now." "Video?" Haskins didn't look up. "Someone posted it online. Some woman filming you at the Green Ridge Motel. Folks are arguing about it already." He shrugged. "Let 'em. People got nothing better to do than whine on the internet." The deputy pulled out his phone. "You sure you don't want to see? They're calling you a racist cop." Pete raised his eyebrows. "That's so?" Haskins finally looked up, smirking. "I enforced the law. I don't apologize for that." The deputy scrolled. Still she looked well off. Didn't seem like a drifter. "Doesn't matter what she looked like," Haskins snapped. "I followed policy. You start second-guessing your gut. That's when you get hurt." The diner went quiet for a beat. Only the sizzle of the grill filled the air. Pete cleared his throat. "Heard the chief wants to see you. Probably about that video." "Yeah." Haskins took a long sip of coffee. "Let him. I've dealt with worse." An hour later, the mood changed. Chief Mallory's office was dim and cluttered. Trophies and old citations lining the shelves. The man behind the desk didn't look up right away. "You've seen the footage?" the chief asked finally. "Yeah," Haskins said. "Some lady with a phone trying to make trouble. I did my job." Mallory leaned back, eyes heavy. "That lady is Maya Carter. So, she owns the damn hotel chain, Dawn. The one you refused her from." For a moment, Haskins didn't move. You're kidding. Mallory slid a tablet across the desk. National outlets picked it up this morning. Her PR team hasn't spoken yet, but they don't have to. You're trending, and not in a good way. Haskins' jaw tightened. So what? I'm supposed to apologize because she's rich. No, Mallory said, because she's powerful. There's a difference. Haskins leaned forward. I didn't break any laws. Mallory sighed. You embarrassed this department. You embarrassed the town. There's already a review committee calling. Over what? Asking questions. Doing my damn job. Mallory's tone hardened. Over how you did it. You think anyone's gonna care about protocol when the headlines read, Officer refuses Black CEO service? We're not in control of this now. Haskins stood up. So that's it. You're throwing me under the bus. Mallory looked up, tired. You threw yourself under it. Outside, the station's corridor buzzed with whispers. 2 officers turned away as Haskins passed. He caught fragments. PR, nightmare, suspension. He's finished. He stormed out into the parking lot, slamming the door behind him. The morning had turned to bright. He sat in his cruiser, engine off, scrolling through his phone until he found Itha video. Her face appeared on screen.com, composed, unflinching. His voice filled the diner's memory, sharp, dismissive, unmistakable. This isn't that kind of place. He hadn't realized how it sounded until now. The comment section scrolled endlessly. She handled it with grace. He's a disgrace to the badge. Fire him. His reflection in the screen looked older, meaner than he remembered. He tossed the phone onto the passenger seat and gripped the steering wheel. Just a misunderstanding, he muttered. But the words landed hollow. By afternoon, the mayor's office had called. By evening, his wife refused to turn on the news. By nightfall, reporters were parked outside his house. Haskins stood at the window, lights from the vans flashing against the glass. He tried to tell himself he was the victim of media, of politics, of some overreacting woman who'd decided to make a scene. But somewhere in the quiet, between the hum of the television and his own shallow breathing, another truth pressed through. He'd underestimated her. The morning broke with headlines that burned. Maya Carter, CEO behind viral racism video revealed. Hotel chain owner denied service by her own staff. Officer placed under investigation. After discrimination allegations. By 8 a.m., the city's financial district screens flashed her image, unsmiling, captured mid-sentence from the grainy video. The news anchors repeated her name with fascination, reverence, and pity, all at once. Inside Carter International headquarters, phones rang non-stop. The PR team barricaded themselves behind laptops, screens flickering with tweets and comment threads multiplying by the second. Dana rushed into Maya's office. It's everywhere. CNN, BBC, even morning talk shows. They're calling it the Carter incident. You've gone global. Maya sat behind her desk, face unreadable. What about the officer? Suspended, pending investigation. Dana's tone shifted, half triumph, half caution. The department issued a statement calling it a miscommunication. But people aren't buying it. Maya exhaled slowly. Good. Dana hesitated. The board wants you to make a statement. Their worried silence looks like arrogance now that everyone knows who you are. Maya nodded once. Draft something factual. No emotion, no drama, just truth. Dana blinked. Truth as in what happened, or truth as in what always happens, Maya said. This time, the world just had a camera on. By noon, news crews crowded outside the corporate tower. Journalists waved microphones like flags. Miss Carter, do you plan to sue? Was this racially motivated? Are you firing the staff involved? Maya walked past them in silence, her security detail parting the crowd. Cameras flashed, voices overlapped, but she didn't slow down. Her silence was the headline they couldn't interpret. In the elevator, Dana whispered, "You're going to have to speak soon." Maya didn't answer. Her reflection in the mirrored wall looked composed, but her hand trembled around the folder she carried. At the police department, the mood was panic disguised as procedure. Chief Mallory faced a semicircle of reporters, reading from a pre-approved statement. The department is committed to a thorough review. Officer Haskins has been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. We do not tolerate misconduct of any kind. Questions erupted. Is this the same officer with prior complaints of bias? Did you reach out to Miss Carter for a direct apology? Mallory's eyes flickered. No further comment. Across town, Haskins watched the press conference from his living room, jaw clenched. His wife sat stiff beside him, hands knotted in her lap. They're hanging me out to dry. he muttered. She didn't look at him. You brought this on yourself. His head snapped toward her. What's that supposed to mean? You could have just let her rent a room, Dawn. But you wanted to show her who's in charge. He stood abruptly, chair scraping the floor. I am in charge. No, she said quietly. You were. The word were landed like a verdict. Back in the city, Maya's office felt like an island of calm amid chaos. Her phone buzzed, constantly calls from journalists, from civil rights organizations, from old friends offering hollow support. Ben stepped in with a tablet. You need to see this. A headline filled the screen. Officer's history of complaints emerges in wake of Carter incident. Beneath it, documents, testimonies, records of prior bias, reports, all dismissed or buried. Dana joined them, reading over his shoulder. Someone leaked this. Could be internal. Maya's eyes narrowed, then the systems cracking from the inside. She turned away from the screen, walking to the window. Below, traffic pulsed like a living thing city, rhythm indifferent to justice or shame. Dana's voice softened. You know this isn't just about him anymore. This is going to define you. Maya nodded. Then it needs to mean something. That night, a new video surfaced, an interview clip from years ago. Maya, younger, newly appointed CEO, smiling for the cameras. Carter International believes in hospitality that transcends race, status, and prejudice. The clip looped endlessly across networks, spliced beside the hotel footage. The irony was cinematic, almost cruel. Her inbox overflowed. Messages from strangers, apologies from executives who'd stayed silent before, endorsements from activists who wanted her to lead a movement. She didn't answer any of them. Instead, she watched the viral video one more time. The rain, the refusal, the click of the holster. It was no longer just evidence. It was narrative, hers, theirs, everyone's. Her father had once said, "They'll hear you when your silence costs them money." She smiled faintly. Guess they're listening now. Across town, Haskins sat in his car outside the station, watching officers pass without meeting his eye. His badge lay on the dashboard, catching the sunset's dull reflection. He picked it up, turning it in his hand. Once, it had meant authority. Now, it just felt like metal. His phone buzzed a message from an unknown number. A link. He tapped it. A press release. Carter International to host live address tomorrow morning regarding discrimination and reform within hospitality industries. His thumb hovered over the screen. He closed the message, started the engine, and drove home in silence. The same storm that had started it all began again. Thin sheets of rain tapping against the windshield. For the first time in years, Haskins didn't feel like the law. He felt like the story. Cameras filled the ballroom like a forest of eyes. Microphones clustered on the podium. Wires coiled like veins beneath the carpet. The Carter International seal shimmered behind the stage, polished to perfection. Maya stood at the edge of the platform, silent as makeup artists and technicians adjusted lights around her. Dana stood nearby, phone in hand, voice clip. We're live in 90 seconds. Maya gave a brief nod, her posture straight, every movement deliberate. Her reflection in the teleprompter didn't look nervous, it looked resolute, almost carved. The stage manager lifted his hand. We're rolling. The lights hit. The murmurs hushed. Maya stepped up to the podium. Good morning, she began, voice steady, low. 2 nights ago, I was refused a room at one of my own hotels. Not because there were no rooms available, not because of policy, but because of perception. A ripple of flashes. The press leaned in. I was told, this isn't that kind of place. Those words are why we're here. She let the silence breathe. The phrase echoed in the room like an accusation. This incident isn't about one man. It's about a system that teaches people who to trust, who to doubt, and who to deny. I've lived long enough to know that racism doesn't always shout. Sometimes it smiles, sometimes it wears a badge, sometimes it signs your paycheck. A collective hush. Reporters glanced at one another, unsure if they were witnessing corporate PR or confession. I will not be pressing personal charges, she continued, but Carter International will implement an internal audit on every location, training, accountability, transparency. If we expect dignity from our guests, we must guarantee it in our walls. A voice called out from the back. Ms. Carter, are you saying your own company is complicit? Yes, she said simply. We all are. The question is, who will stay silent when it happens again? The cameras clicked, dozens in rapid succession. Dana, standing offstage, mouthed the word perfect, but Maya's eyes didn't move. I didn't choose this spotlight, she said, but if it's on me, I'll use it. She stepped back. No dramatic flourish, no scripted pause, just the quiet authority of someone who had seen too much and lost the luxury of patience. After the conference, the lobby swarmed. Reporters chased quotes, flashes stung, hands reached out. Maya made it to the elevator, security forming a shield around her. Inside, away from the crowd, Dana let out a breath. You realize what you just did? Yes, Maya replied. You declared war on the system. Maya's gaze stayed forward. Then it's about time it noticed me. That evening, the news cycle spun. Pundits dissected her words. Activists praised her restraint. Detractors accused her of performative outrage. Her speech looped on every channel, each network slicing it differently, some as inspiration, others as provocation. The camera freeze-framed. The moment she said "we all are" became an instant meme. A hashtag trended. Hashtag not that kind of place. Dana burst into her office hours later. You're everywhere. Donations to civil rights groups have tripled since this morning. And Haskins. Maya looked up. What about him? He went on local radio, tried to defend himself, said he was being punished for doing his job, but someone leaked his complaint record. It's over. Maya exhaled, not in satisfaction, but in recognition. There's no victory in exposure, only truth. Dana frowned. Then why does it feel like you just won? Because they expected me to stay quiet, Maya said, and I didn't. Later that night, alone in her apartment, she replayed the broadcast. Her own image stared back from the television, poised, articulate, unflinching. The silence afterward was heavier than applause. She poured herself a glass of water, hands finally trembling. The strength she'd shown on stage felt like armor, the kind that doesn't protect it, just hides the wound. She turned off the TV. Outside, the city was alive, unbothered, moving forward as if nothing had changed. And maybe nothing had. But tomorrow, someone would walk into a hotel lobby somewhere, and for the first time, someone behind the desk might think twice. That was enough for tonight. By sunrise, the tone had shifted. The world that applauded her yesterday had teeth today. The first email arrived at 6:03 a.m. Subject line, keep politics out of business. By 7 o'clock, her inbox overflowed with threats, insults, and carefully coded hostility. Anonymous voices cloaked in civility. You're dividing people. You're the real racist. Stick to hotels, not activism. At headquarters, Dana met her at the elevator, pale and grim. They're targeting our investors. There's a coordinated smear, fake articles, doctored videos, claims you fabricated the incident. Maya adjusted her. Who's behind it? Could be law enforcement unions, could be competitors, could just be trolls. They sound organized, Maya said. They're always organized, Dana replied quietly. In the boardroom, the tension was palpable. Same long oak table, same men who'd advised silence days ago, now disguising their panic as professionalism. The chairman began. Miss Carter, while we respect your personal experience, your comments have created turbulence in the market. We've lost 2 major sponsors. Maya leaned forward, then replaced them with better ones. This isn't about ethics, it's about stability. Another director interjected. You're alienating core demographics. She studied him. Core demographics. You mean racists with loyalty points? His face flushed. You can't say that publicly. I just did. A few seats down, an older board member murmured, You're risking everything you built. Maya's tone cooled. If what I built can't stand on truth, it's already broken. The chairman sighed. Our PR team suggests issuing a clarifying statement, one that reaffirms neutrality. Neutrality, Maya repeated, almost to herself. That's what they called silence in my parents' generation too. Dana, standing by the door, whispered under her breath, They want your crown without your scars. Maya caught the words, but didn't react. That night, she scrolled through the comments under her speech. She's playing the victim card. If she wasn't rich, no one would care. Another corporate stunt. Each one felt like static pressing against her skin. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered anyway. Miss Carter. The voice was low, male, practiced. This is a friendly suggestion. Drop the reform campaign. You're stirring things you don't understand. Who is this? Someone who likes things quiet. The line clicked dead. She stood in the dark apartment, phone still in her hand, the city humming beneath her windows. Fear tried to find a place inside her, but there was no room left. Only anger. At 11 p.m., Dana showed up unannounced. coat soaked from rain. They're leaking internal memos now, she said, trying to spin your diversity programs as tokenism. Maya poured her a drink. Of course they are. Dana dropped into a chair. I'm serious. They'll drag your name through every headline until you apologize or disappear. Maya handed her the glass. Then they'll get used to disappointment. Dana exhaled, studying her. You don't look scared. I am, Maya admitted, but fear's not new. It just changes costume. Silence stretched. The rain against the windows was constant, soft, relentless. Dana finally said, you know, you could end this. One press release, one apology, one promise to refocus on business. Everyone would move on. Maya shook her head. That's what they count on. That's the system's favorite trick, make the victim the inconvenience. She looked out at the city. I've spent years teaching people what hospitality means. Now they'll learn what integrity looks like. The next morning, her legal team called. The threats had escalated. Emails mentioning her address. Photos of her building. Police recommended private security. She refused relocation. Instead, she ordered a statement to be sent to all hotel branches, effective immediately. Any employee found discriminating against guests based on race, gender, or background will be terminated without warning. Discretion will not protect prejudice. Within hours, staff forums lit up. Some cheered, others complained of political policing. The line had been drawn, and everyone knew which side they were on. That evening, Maya stood alone in the darkened lobby of the corporate tower. She stared at the Carter International emblem etched into marble. Her father's voice echoed faintly in memory. Every stand costs something. Pay it or stay seated. She straightened her shoulders, whispering to the empty hall. Then let it cost. Outside, lightning flickered, brief, violent, cleansing. The air in the precinct was stale, heavier than usual. Officer Don Haskins sat outside the chief's office, his uniform pressed, badge polished, hands restless. Every click of the hallway clock echoed like a countdown. Inside, voices murmured. He could hear Mallory, the chief, and someone else, someone unfamiliar. A woman's voice, sharp and calm. The door opened. Come in, Don. Haskins rose, squared his shoulders, and stepped inside. The room smelled of coffee and tension. Chief Mallory sat behind the desk, and across from him, a representative from the state's Internal Review Board, Ms. Alvarez. Small, severe eyes, cold as steel. She didn't offer a handshake. Officer Haskins, we've completed the investigation. He nodded stiffly, glad to hear it. Your personnel file shows 6 prior complaints of racial bias, she began, all dismissed as insufficient evidence. However, the department failed to disclose that pattern in the Carter case. That changes the context. Mallory looked exhausted. Don, this is bad. Haskins' jaw tightened. You're gonna crucify me to make her look good. Alvarez didn't blink. You did that yourself. He leaned forward, voice hardening. You weren't there. She walked in like she owned the place. She did own the place, Alvarez said. Thought the words landed like a slap. Mallory rubbed his temples. You're being placed on indefinite suspension pending formal dismissal. Haskins' hand twitched. You're ending my career over a damn misunderstanding. Mallory's tone was low. We're ending it because you can't tell the difference between authority and ego. Outside, whispers followed him through the hall. Colleagues who once nodded now turned away. A few looked sorry. Most looked relieved. He walked to his locker, the echo of each step louder than the last. Inside, his badge, his nameplate, a faded photo of his academy class. He stared at it for a long moment, then shut the door quietly. By the time he reached the parking lot, news crews were waiting. Officer Haskins, do you have a statement about your dismissal? Do you regret your actions toward Miss Carter? Do you believe you were treated unfairly? He pushed past them, but the microphones followed like gnats. No comment, he muttered, eyes fixed on the ground. The cameras captured everything, the flinch, the tight jaw, the fall. At home, the silence was worse than the noise. His wife, Ellen, sat on the couch, watching the news. The anchor's voice filled the room. The officer seen in the viral Carter Hotel video has been dismissed following internal review findings of repeated discriminatory behavior. The clip played again, his face, his tone, his smirk. Ellen turned off the TV. You should apologize. To her. To yourself. He stared at her. You think I'm the bad guy. I think you stopped being a good one a long time ago. He wanted to shout, but the anger didn't have anywhere to go. It curdled into silence. Across the city, Maya's PR team was in motion. The news of Haskins' dismissal broke alongside her new initiative, the Carter Equity Program funding anti-discrimination, training across hospitality and law enforcement sectors. Reporters called it poetic, activists called it overdue. Maya called it maintenance. In her office, Dana handed her a tablet showing the live coverage. He's out. Official statement confirmed. Maya nodded. It had to happen. Feels like justice. No, Maya said. Justice would mean it never happened at all. That evening, Haskins found himself parked outside the Green Ridge Motel. The sign still flickered, same as that night. He sat in the dark, engine off, rain ticking against the roof. Through the lobby window, he saw a new clerk, young, polite, smiling as a family checked in. The routine scene twisted inside him. He'd once ruled rooms like that, with unspoken permission. Now, he couldn't even step through the door without being recognized. A car pulled in beside him. Reporters again. He drove off before they could catch the plate. Days blurred. His phone stopped ringing. The union distanced itself. His pension review went into pending status. He'd become a ghost in a world that moved on without him. One night, Ellen left a note on the counter. I can't live inside your silence anymore. She didn't take much, just her clothes and the wedding photo from the mantel. He sat in the kitchen afterward, the hum of the refrigerator his only company. The badge lay on the table, dull in the overhead light. For the first time, he noticed how heavy it felt. 2 weeks later, a televised segment aired. Maya Carter returns to Green Ridge for hotel reopening. The broadcast showed her stepping out of a black sedan in the same gravel lot where the story began. She wore white this time, sharp, clean, defiant. Locals applauded as she cut the ribbon, her expression calm but unreadable. Haskins watched from his couch. The camera panned across the new sign above the door. The Carter Grand. She looked directly into the lens as she spoke. Hospitality isn't a courtesy. It's a measure of who we are when no one's watching. The crowd clapped. The camera lingered. He turned off the TV, sat in silence, and whispered to no one. Guess someone was watching after all. The rain started again, outside steady, familiar, and cold. He didn't move for a long time. Morning light slid through the glass facade of the Carter Grand like liquid gold. The grand reopening had drawn media, guests, local officials, and quiet onlookers who'd followed every headline. The old Green Ridge Motel was gone, rebuilt in white stone, tall windows, and quiet dignity. Maya stood near the entrance, her reflection ghosted in the glass. Dana adjusted her mic earpiece beside her. Press conference in 10, she murmured. Maya nodded, gaze fixed on the lobby beyond. Polished marble floors, staff lined up, diverse, nervous, proud. It was exactly as she'd envisioned it that night months ago, when rage still felt like fire under her skin. Feels different, Dana said softly. It should, Maya replied. The ground's been cleaned. Outside, cameras flashed as she approached the podium. Reporters shouted questions. Microphones thrust forward. Double quotes. Ms. Carter, how does it feel returning to the site of the incident? Was this reopening planned as a statement? Do you forgive Officer Haskins? Maya paused at the third question. She looked directly at the reporter. Forgiveness is a personal thing. Accountability is public. Silence rippled through the crowd. Brief. Sharp. She continued. This hotel isn't just reopening, it's reopening under new terms. Every Carter property now includes a clause of zero tolerance, not just in words, but in enforcement. We can't change what happened here, but we can change what's possible here. Applause rose, not thunderous, but steady, earnest. Behind the cameras, a few familiar faces appeared. Local staff from that night, newly reinstated, standing together in the doorway. One of them, the young receptionist who'd watched in silence months before, caught Maya's eye. She gave a small nod. Maya returned it. A quiet acknowledgement. Complicity turned courage. After the ceremony, Maya walked the halls alone. The scent of new paint mixed with coffee from the cafe. She stopped outside room 214, the room she'd been denied. Inside, it looked ordinary now. Neutral tones, crisp linen, no ghosts except the ones memory carried. She sat on the edge of the bed, the same position, the same space, but now it was hers in every sense. The air conditioner hummed. For the first time in months, she let herself exhale completely. A knock at the door. Dana entered with a tablet. CNN wants an interview at noon. Also, your mother's watching live from Atlanta, she cried. Maya smiled faintly. Tell her, I'll call tonight. Also, this came by courier. Dana handed her a plain envelope. Inside was a letter. No return address. Handwritten, uneven script. Ms. Carter, you don't owe me a thing, but I owe you one. I thought I understood respect. Turns out, I only understood power. They took my badge. Maybe they should have. Maybe I should have given it back myself. Don't worry. I'm not asking forgiveness. I just needed to say I see it now. Maya folded the letter once, twice, and set it down on the nightstand. Her reflection in the mirror behind it looked neither triumphant nor broken, just still. Dana said quietly, "You believe him. I believe consequences," Maya answered. "Belief is optional after that." Downstairs, the lobby filled with guests checking in, families, business travelers, a group of students filming a vlog about the hotel that changed everything. One of the students asked a question on camera. "What does this place mean now?" The front desk clerk smiled. "It means, welcome means everyone." Maya overheard as she walked past. She didn't interrupt, she just let it be. Later, she stepped outside. The evening sun bled orange across the skyline. Reporters were gone. The crowd had thinned. Only the Carter Grand sign glowed softly above her glint, unflinching. A man stood across the street, half in shadow, watching, older, coat pulled tight. She recognized him before she wanted to. Haskins. He didn't approach, didn't wave, just watched, then nodded. One saw acknowledgement, not a request. She met his gaze for 1 second longer than comfort allowed. Then he turned and walked away. Dana appeared beside her. "That him?" "Yes. You want me to?" "No," Maya said. "Let him walk. That's his road now." Inside, the staff gathered in the lounge to toast. Someone played soft jazz on the piano. Laughter, clinking glasses, the rhythm of something resembling peace. Maya raised her glass. "To every person who ever got told they didn't belong," she said quietly, "you were the reason this place exists." They clinked glasses. When the night ended, she stayed behind, sitting in the empty lobby. The marble gleamed under low light. She opened her laptop and drafted one final internal memo. "To all Carter International employees, our legacy will not be defined by what we built, but by who we refused to turn away. If you see someone being treated as less, your silence is consent. Speak, act, protect. That's the job now, Maya Carter, CEO." She hit send. Then she closed the laptop, leaned back, and listened to the hum of lights, to the faint chatter outside, to the sound of her name still being whispered somewhere beyond the glass. For once, it didn't sound like a headline. It sounded like history settling into its right place. At midnight, a janitor passed through the lobby, polishing the brass. "Ma'am," he said, surprised she was still there. "Beautiful place. You must be proud." Maya smiled. "Pride's the easy part. Making sure it stays beautiful, that's the work." He nodded, then moved on. She stood, looked around one last time, and walked out into the cool night air. Behind her, the Carter Grand glowed steady, and salute the monument not to wealth, but to endurance. The door closed softly, and for the first time, the story that had started with exclusion ended with a simple, open truth. Everyone belonged.